What's up? This is Dan Fradenburgh for Figure It Out. David, is it Nussbaum? Right.
Yeah, Nussbaum.
Nussbaum, founder, CEO of PORTL which is where he markets his full body-sized holograms. For everyone who has never seen Figure It Out before, this show focuses on using attention to detail to adapt your business or career quickly to a changing market by learning new skills from zero. One easy exercise to build your attention to detail is to learn how to spot illusions. And my guilty pleasure is having all sorts of wild tech in my basement. Now, one thing I do not have is a full-size hologram creating device, and that's what David makes. So David, how about you introduce yourself a little bit more clearly?
Thanks, you got it, Dan. Thanks for having me on. So yeah, I'm David. I started PORTL, and PORTL has the world's first and only completely self-contained single passenger holoportation machines. I could beam anybody from anywhere to anywhere in real time because if you can't be there, beam there. How was that, Dan?
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. So now, I believe I might be mistaken. Were you involved in bringing TUPAC Shakur back for a concert as a hologram?
So the company that I used to run before I started PORTL was, we owned all of the patents that were made famous when Tupac was beamed onto the stage at Coachella. I actually I wish I could claim some form of creative influence or even some involvement. I had nothing to do with the creation or the hologram of Tupac at Coachella. It was the company that I worked for, that I was running at the time. We had the patents that were utilized at Coachella to put Tupac on stage.
Do you know that particular illusion then? Do you know like what percent was computer graphics and what was like taken from concert footage?
Yeah, for sure. So whenever you do a digital resurrection, which is what we would call Tupac, and I've done many since, so I actually can claim some involvement in a lot of bringing a lot of dead people back so they could posthumously perform in front of sold-out crowds around the world. Most of the time, and I'm kind of opening up the curtain a little bit here, this is some sort of behind-the-scenes stuff. We don't really like to show the hand up the puppet, right? I mean, so most of it is completely recreated material, computer generated imaging for the head, for the face, for the mouth. Everything that is from the neck up is generally CGI. From the body, from the neck down, body double, actor. So then you stitch the body, who's doing all of the movements, with the CGI head, and you blend everything together, and then you have yourself a digital resurrection. And of course, if you can, you would use authentic audio. So when Tupac said, this is actually pretty great, when he's singing his songs, it's really Tupac's words. But when he said, what the blank is up Coachella, now Coachella wasn't even a thing when he passed away, so that was voiceover actor. Photos and videos are used as reference material to get it right, but it's all done with CGI, body double, voiceover acting, and authentic audio all mixed together.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense to only, like, you know, it's got to be way cheaper to only make a really convincing face than everything else, because I know that faces are the most difficult part of the body to fake anyway. So that's really interesting. But right now, the most marketable form of the product for the PORTL hologram, or at least that it offers, is live holograms, or holograms that may basically replace our collection of photos and videos in your home. Is that right? Okay, that is the plan. Because
we have a few different directions we can take it. I thought when I started PORTL that as great and as exciting, and I really enjoyed the novelty of bringing late legends back to posthumously perform. I think that's amazing. But really, what we are is a connecting device. We're a telecommunications device. We could beam anybody from anywhere to anywhere, and we're doing a Zoom right now, but in a year from now, I would hope, if I'm doing things right, there's a chance that we're portaling into each other's homes. So your full-size version from head to toe is beaming into my living room, and I'm beaming into your living room, and we're actually having eye-to-eye contact conversations like, you know, the way it was intended to be, right? So now to be able to have these kind of picture frame versions of your family members, PORTL just recently we just announced our strategic partnership with a company called Storyfile, which is, I'd say, one of the world's most clever artificial intelligence companies. They made headlines around the world when they turned Holocaust survivors into artificial intelligence beings. And so they have a production effect and an algorithm that allows you to ask any real person. I can ask Dan any question about his life, and he, even though he's not really there, your hologram, your AI might actually take over your show at some point, and then you can actually have conversations with an AI version of you, Dan, or any celebrity or Holocaust survivor, or even just, you know, a virtual directory information booth at the mall. You can ask them any question, they respond, and you can actually have conversations. So when I said that the picture frames of your grandkids are a thing of the past, I think you're gonna pretty soon see AI holograms of your grandkids in little tabletop portals in the near future.
Yeah, it's funny because yeah, I've been thinking it through, and yeah, it does make sense, especially in the middle of a pandemic, so that, you know, grandma and grandpa can visit in the, you know, in the portal that's in the corner of your house or whatever, and you don't have to worry about cleaning up the house as much, I suppose, and there'd be all kinds of fun things. But yeah, the AI thing, I've got a little bit of a confession to make. It's yeah, I already I've got one, and I've got a deep fake service that will actually say whatever I want. So I've been making it recite Shakespeare just to kind of, you know, show it's like, okay, yeah, this isn't a person, and where is the state of the art, right? But I'm a tinker, and in particular, I was huge into the 3D scene. I even applied for a patent for a device for stereoscopic filming, which requires 2 cameras. But I noticed in your tech demo that you only had 1 camera. I haven't made it to one of your in-person demonstrations. So do these holograms have the appearance of depth?
Yeah, so we have a patent on shooting everything with a single camera, but creating a volumetric effect. So it looks very much like a stereoscopic or 3-dimensional image, but without the expense and without the technical knowledge of having to use multiple cameras.
Yeah. Well, that was actually why I didn't pursue my my device. It's because the education hoops to make somebody jump through just to understand the product, it was too much. Okay. Oh wow. So now you're. Oh yeah, you got your.
So I'm basically. Is this your viewers are going to see this, or are we just audio,
Yes.
or how's this? Okay, great. So I'll just throw some stuff up sometimes. So this is basically what I'm talking about. I have a single locked off camera, but the way that our technology works with our production process creates a volumetric effect with shadow, reflection, depth and dimension, color correction, and resize. I mean, it is almost a clone of the real me. My wife actually says I look better as a hologram than I do as a real person.
Yeah, probably quieter, right? And the
You could
ladies
just
like
unplug
that.
me. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's because I was thinking about that too, as far as what other things you could do to make the 3D, and I bet you could use polarized glasses to work with
Sure.
work with your holograms. Is that a direction you see that going in?
Yeah, I mean, we're open to all kinds of stuff. One of the things that we're doing right now is as we're expanding and we're hiring on more people, is we're doing a lot of research and development. We're looking to create different devices. We're looking to get rid of the devices at some point. I think, 10 years from now, I think the hardware will be a thing of the past. I think we will be able to do everything just through software and other forms of technology. But, when you're the first to do something, sometimes you have to start out with, like the first computer took up a whole room, right? And now we're, our phones are our computers. So things get inexpensive over time. Things get lighter and smaller over time. Things get easier to use. But for the first one in the world, it's not terrible.
Yeah, so well, I guess so. What you're saying is that I guess any inventor has to be a little bit of a futurist, right? You have to be able to have that kind of sight in the future of what's possible. And one thing, like you're talking about, basically the pervasiveness of screens in our lives. And when I've been thinking about that, I've been thinking about how I think writing is actually going to go away because they're going to be so ubiquitous, like all these different screens, and so there's going to be no need to make your own marks. I don't know if you see that is where things are going, but
yeah, I mean, look, I'm with you. I think that I couldn't have predicted 6 months ago that this is where we were going to be. So I'm not even in the prediction game anymore. I threw that out a long time ago. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, or in the next 20 minutes these days, right?
No, exactly.
But so I see that that the pandemic, I think it does give it a lot more. It makes it a lot more obvious that there is a good use. There are some times where you can't just go see your grandparents. But the price that I saw on the website, it seems like the hologram units are like mid 5 figures to start. And if this becomes the new TV, or at least the hub for calls in the house or something, will it be able to benefit from scale?
Yeah, I mean, well, those prices are coming down over time anyway. But when I said that prices started at $60,000 for this epic-sized, telephone booth-sized hologram projection portal, that was my intention. Wasn't that they were going to be in the homes right now. We've got we're working on a mini, and I'll put this up for your viewers. So this is, I mean, the tabletop is really the consumer device that we're working with. Now this is the size of a desktop computer.
Yeah.
It's got the dimension. It's got all of our production effects.
Yeah.
And it beams in an 18-inch tall version of little Dan as opposed to human-sized Dan. It's great for, I mean, it's characters. You could, all kinds of amazing content. You could live stream things in. And of course, you'd be able to portal to portal. This is the future of home. Oh, look at this little lady right here. So yeah, this is the future of home telecommunications,
right?
In my opinion.
How durable is the front of that device? Like, like if you bang into it with your hand or something, like it'll be fine, I imagine. But like a hammer and it's toast, or
right. It's if you banged a hammer into your television screen or into your computer screen, same thing. Yeah, I would. It's a little bit more durable than that, but yeah, it's it's not made out of cement.
right. Yeah, okay, because I just thought of an awesome a game there based on something that we ended up doing with my family. We had the projector. We just had a big wall in the living room. We just used a projector on that, and we found out if we watched videos on YouTube of like House of the Dead, the video game, the shooting game, and we had our Nerf guns, we could just sit there and shoot the wall, right, with these Nerf guns. And I think that, for example, if my dad gave me a call, I'd love to have a Nerf gun and just sit there and shoot a real holographic version of him you think it? Do you think that'll be a version a 4.0 of this to be able to handle a Nerf shot? Or
yeah, right. A hologram, hollow Nerf. Well, maybe I can call Nerf up. We could maybe work a strategic partnership together. A Nerf-enabled hologram projection portal.
Right, and actually, I guess I've also seen those doohickeys where you put it on front of a TV or a projector screen, and then it notices where you're touching. And so,
cool,
so if you combine that with what you got, like that'd probably be easy, like an easy add-on to make the front of it a touch screen or
I have, so it is a touch screen.
It is a touch screen, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have a unit right here. I don't have it turned on, but yeah, it's a touch screen. When you turn it, it auto rotates, so you can actually use it as a normal monitor. It's really versatile. So it is a touch screen, and because we use a like an infrared tracking kind of motion tracking camera, you could wave through it, some motion gestures and all kinds of stuff. So, you know, if you're, it's great for retail. You just wave through it, and all different kinds of products or services, whatever you need is it's going to be in there.
Yeah, I was also figuring that they'd be good in shopping centers as displays. That's like a slam dunk. It sounds like something that I totally see when I lived back in Asia.
Well, nothing is a slam dunk, but I agree that it should be a slam dunk. It is a, in my opinion, these have retail written all over it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So how loud are the Portal units? Like, do they need any loud fans to cool them or anything? Or do they have any?
There's fans. I have 6 fans. I've got actually 8 fans. I've got 6. I got 3 on either side, and that shoots the air out. And then I've got 2 by the exhaust that send in the cooler air in. Whisper quiet. You wouldn't even know. It's like maybe like a, you know, like a refrigerator. It's just, you don't even hear it. It's a nothing hum.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So when I saw what you had on offer on those YouTube videos or wherever I saw it, it was it reminded me a little bit of the Haunted Mansion from Disney World with the ghost.
Sure.
That was that trick. Like technically, is that like what they did? Is that called Pepper's Ghost?
Yeah, Pepper's Ghost. Yeah, and that's actually what the Tupac hologram used. It's Pepper's Ghost. Yeah,
okay.
It's
like a half silvered mirror, and then like a bright light or something projected onto another, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't exactly know how the Haunted Mansion does it at Disney, but the Pepper's Ghost that I've worked with, and I've worked with Universal Studios quite a bit with the Harry Potter rides and the Islands of Adventure, even the Fast and Furious tram tour. The foil sits at a 45-degree angle. It's a completely clear piece of plastic. Huge, like we're talking about like 20 feet tall, and you could make rolls of it like just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet long. So that's why it stretches entire theaters or entire concert stages. You don't even know it's there. It's completely clear. But it sits at an angle, and then you've got projectors up here, and the projectors hit the floor, which has some type of a reflection surface, a mirror or a movie screen or some other kind of reflect. So it bounces the image up through the foil, and then the image is a reflection on the stage. So the audience is over here, they see through the foil, through the projection, and they see the image performing with Snoop Dogg on a stage at Coachella. Yeah.
That's thanks for that description. But continuing with Disney World, I remember that they also had that, and then they also had the Hall of Presidents, which is the wax museum. You'd like to see those replaced with holograms, right?
Well, I think that there's a place for that. I think there's a place for holograms. I don't think I'd like to see it replaced. I think if there's I think there's a way for all of us to work together. I mean, it would be a shame for the wax museums to be over. I think there is a place for that. I like them. I personally but no, I think, you know, mixed media is pretty great. We don't need all wax. We don't need all holograms. Maybe there's a world where we can all live together.
Right. Yeah, that's what I keep on coming back to in my head. But your plan is to use these devices to teach. Like, for example, you could have Abraham Lincoln telling you about the Civil War, and Teddy Roosevelt teaching about conservation, and that's just. But are you also making all of these different models and doing the body doubles in the programs to work in your holograms as well, or are you relying on other companies to make stuff to run in the portals?
We do work with other companies. We do some stuff ourselves, but there are amazing companies. I worked with a company called Digital Frontier FX here in Los Angeles. I worked with them on the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library hologram. So when everything opens up again, you go to Simi Valley and, north of Los Angeles, and you could go to Ronald Reagan's museum there, and hologram Ronald comes out, CGI face, again, we did it. And so I do work with other companies. We do a fair amount of production, but then there are some specialists that come in and do it, just like Storyfile has their thing with the AI. So I think it's great to have partners for sure.
Good stuff. But do you think that what you're putting together now is closest we're likely to come to something that looks identical to the real thing?
Well, yeah, I think we're really close. It could, we shoot everything in 4K. Of course, the world is starting to go towards an 8K, and so we're trying to stay on top of all of that. I think currently we've got the world's best hologram effect device that can beam in a live person, right? And I think as time goes on, we will continue to push the limits. So 5 years from now, the stuff I'm doing right now is hopefully I make it look like crap. I want to continuously get better. I'm never satisfied with what we have, which is a blessing and a curse. But I'm in love with it. I think it looks great. I think it looks like the real thing. I really do.
I have a line about perfectionism, which is like, of course, it doesn't really work, but of course, you can't half-ass things. So I like to tell people that you have to three-quarter-ass everything.
That's terrific. I like that. I might steal that and use that when I'm doing my next interview. But yeah, like when somebody beams in, they have the ability to talk to another person in real time. I can't tell you how many comments I see on like the YouTube videos or whenever I post something. I don't know if they're trolling me or whatever, but a lot of times they say, "Oh, that's just a guy in a box. It's a trick. They're tricking us."
Right.
And I say, "Well, I'm actually,
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. That's exactly what I'm going for. Yep. That's right. Yeah, that's good stuff. So now I also saw in the demonstration that when the subject is on the camera, there's a white background. Is there a technical reason for that, or can you be in a room with a green wall instead? Or
sure, yeah. Well, yeah. So yeah, a white background produces a clean white space. So I'm shooting a white background, and so I'm projecting a white background. I think it is a nice, clean, bright image. I've got tens of thousands of lumens of interior light that's literally hitting it from every angle, completely surrounded by light. So when I have the color white, it obviously produces a nice, bright, crisp, very realistic effect. But yeah, if I replaced the white background with green screen, then you could change the color to anything. It doesn't have to be white. You could make it a red background, or maybe you're putting this into a sports venue and the color blue, like Dodger blue, or you can actually colleges and universities, you can have school colors, you can have team colors. Sometimes, obviously, we were talking about retail before.
Yep.
Advertisers and sponsors require very specific
like hex codes, shades,
yeah, they have. Yeah. This is how they're known. They're known by their colors, right? So yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be white. It could be literally any color in the world.
But when you're filming though, when you're
Yep.
filming the subject, does that background matter or no?
Yeah. So the background on this guy here is a green screen. So
Okay.
when I filmed him on green screen, I am now able to then key out the green and replace it with anything. With white, then you obviously are stuck with white. But I like the way white looks because you're not going to have any haloing. You're not going to have any tearing or ripping, and it is a very, very clean image. When I was working, when I was running like the other hologram company, everything that we did was we shot everything on black, right? Because that required darkness. And so, like, you know, here you could put a hologram person on stage with a real person, but you shoot everything on black, and that way it creates the most realistic image for what you're trying to accomplish.
Right. And I was just trying to think of some other examples I've seen in movies of holograms. They're supposed to be all futuristic and stuff. I suppose with what you have, you could always put it on some sort of RC car or something and make it walk around the room or something as the person wants to walk around. But I don't think you're getting much bang for your buck.
No, and it depends on how long your power cord is, because I still have to plug mine into the wall. So that RC car is going to just pull the plug on it. But you know, it's funny, when we did Jimmy Kimmel Live, I beamed Jimmy Kimmel to the Country Music Awards 3 years in a row via hologram. And then we started beaming award winners back. As they were accepting their awards, they would get beamed back and they would perform or be interviewed by Kimmel in Hollywood. And he wanted to materialize in using some cool transition effect. So even though I can make him look real, like he's walking in on stage, he says, no, I want to materialize it, right? So there are some ways, and like, you know, he says, make me a little glitchy, or make me almost like the way the movies kind of promised us it was going to look. Almost help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Sort of like flickery and stuff. So we did that. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, right. Yeah. So you probably just used a chroma key sheet or something to cover up and gradually expose.
No, we had he was on green screen, and it's a fade in and a fade out that has a transition effect to it. So you could have him swirl away and then, you know, reappear in particles. If you Google, Jimmy Kimmel hologram, you'll probably see a few versions of how he beamed in and out.
Right. Really, right. Yeah, I got I got the idea of the transition and all that kind of stuff. I was just trying to
he
think
wasn't like,
side.
we didn't have him in front of we had him in front of a green screen, but there was nothing between him and the camera. We just used just some production, like just some production effects.
Okay, cool. So what other bits need to be part of the setup for a company to turn Portal into an effective tool that can be used regularly without headaches?
Without what?
Without headaches, you know, because like I'm a tech guy, right? And when I'm busy programming and somebody bugs me about their printer, I'm just like,
right. Well, you know, it's funny. I'm not a tech guy. And my background is in production effects and podcasting and radio and stuff. And so I needed to make this hologram effect device. I needed to make it for somebody like me who isn't really a technical person. So we made it completely self-contained. So that way, when you unbox it, and by the way, my delivery guys and installers will white glove service it. They'll bring it into wherever you want, remove everything, remove the debris, remove the packaging, place it wherever you want, plug it in, everything, you have one switch, everything turns on. Lights turn on, the fans turn on, the dedicated router turns on, the media player turns on, the camera turns on, the speakers turn on, everything turns on. There's no way to mess it up. The monitor, everything turns on. And then you could run it, through an app on the phone. So I guess you could mess it up there by downloading an app and not knowing how to do an app. But basically, I run every piece of content right off of it. It's just like it's just an app on the phone, and it becomes the remote control.
Right. I was sitting there thinking, like, it's like, does the thing have a SIM card and a data plan that you cover or something? But no, yeah, if it can just piggyback off of your phone, then yeah, that makes sense that you're golden. But since you showed me the mini portal, is that the name for it, or do you have a?
Yeah, I mean, everything is sort of a working title. Epic is the large one. Mini is the small one. This was our first prototype. I'll let you keep asking, but yeah, we're going
Mhm.
for we're going with Mini for now until I get sued by Mini, probably.
Right, right,
But,
okay. So,
you know,
because my question was going to be, I got a buddy who's 7 feet tall, so I'm like, what I was going to ask, like, what would need to be tweaked for that to work? But he just stand further from the camera, and he just like,
right.
right?
Yeah, you know, it's great because um, the taller you are, it just pushes you further back into the device.
Hmm,
So like I'm not tall.
hmm,
I am average sized. And so I appear like I'm in the front of the box, right? But if I
hmm,
was 6'5" or 6'7" or
hmm.
7 feet tall, for every inch I'm taller, I get pushed back an inch. So I'll always look like I'm that height, but really I'll be it'll just the depth will cover for me essentially.
Hmm.
Here's actually a pretty. I'll put on something here so you could sort of see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's a
Well,
here's a pretty tall guy. So
yeah. Wow.
um,
Okay.
right.
Huh.
So this guy here, he's like six. I'd say he's about 6'4"
Yeah,
inside the box.
yeah.
But he appears like he's further back in the box than he needs to be. But here is the real a guy who,
Right,
when he stands next to him, he just appears like he's about a foot and a half back from him.
right, right.
But
Huh.
still, very real, very, very realistic.
Yeah, that's really interesting. But since I didn't know that you had the background in production, and so I imagine you have tried some forced perspective tricks, like the ones
Yeah,
that you used in the Lord of the Rings to make Gandalf huge and the Hobbit
yeah.
shorter. Okay, so I don't know if you have any samples of that, but does the hologram show any tells that something's amiss when that's the case? Because
Yeah,
with 3D that won't work.
right. Yeah. So the tells are when you replace a solid background with a lot of detail. So if you wanted to be in an environment, right?
Hmm.
Um, because I key out the green and I replace it with a solid color, you could look around it. It almost seems like you could look around it because there's nothing else other than the subject matter, the presenter. But if I were to fill the entire portal up with an environment, once you start shifting perspective, once your parallax moves, everything starts to move with me, and there's your tell. So we're going to keep working on that to obviously fix that. Not that it needs to be fixed, because I kind of like the clean version of just solid backgrounds. But when it comes to environments, there can be a little bit of a tell. The more detail, the flatter the background image becomes.
Hmm. That's really interesting. Now, we already discussed the AIs, and basically, one of the things I was thinking of was about for a company. If a company has their own hologram, maybe like one in the customer service area, one
Right.
in the human resources office, or whatever, and
Yeah.
like all that kind of stuff, or maybe the legal department. Like, what do you envision about that? Like, does that is that something that you can see actually being happening? And like, are there like different things or considerations for companies like that?
Yeah, like with artificial intelligence specifically.
Well, with artificial intelligence, what I was really getting at was either complete deep fakes, or with an avatar that's just completely CGI, but is
Right.
representative of the company, or at least a department.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not a shocker. I'm not, you know, my background isn't in artificial intelligence, and because I'm not a techie, I know very little. I only know what people tell me about artificial intelligence. I know I want it. I know I want it right now. I know I want them in the portals. I know that there are a bunch of different ways to accomplish artificial intelligence. My intention, though, is that when you have the Mini or when you have the Epic or any other size or device or SKU that we put out there, I think that not only is it going to be a telecommunications device, but I want it to be a virtual assistant. I want you to be able to swipe through different avatars of people and choose, you know, the person that you want to have a conversation with. I know that there are ways to, you know, accomplish an interactive, you know, a way to be interactive with avatars that can, you know, replace the living. I still think that if you could beam somebody in alive, that could answer your questions in real time, that is always better. But if you have an AI replacement for that person, then I would just want it to, you know, be as realistic as possible. I'm looking over, you know, in my background right now, this technically isn't AI. These are just some avatars that are more for merchandising. But here I'm just waving through it just to kind of get the right, you know, Seattle Seahawks jersey that I like on. But I'm not quite sure, Dan, that I answered your question, but what happens when I don't know an answer to something, I just start talking. And then I always hope for the interviewer just to cut me off. So.
Well, yeah, no such luck today. I became shy at some point in my life. Yeah. But thank you for being here today, David. And if you want to wow your friends, go to portalhologram.com. That's in the description. David, do you have anything else before we call it a day?
This was great. I appreciate this. Thank you for, you know, showcasing what I do. And good luck. This is great. I've had a lot of fun.